exactly what
you want
happened.
it on video so you can put it on the news, right?
No, we're on live,
That's
actually.
what you're trying to find out. If we got a video so you can elaborate out, make a fabricated story, right? You want a video so you can base a fabricated story on us, right?
Amen.
Right?
All right.
Right?
So that's some of what you saw last night on our air in Charlotte. That was Steve Harrigan there reporting when confronted by a protester. A few of them, in fact. Other journalists caught up in it, like this example from CNN.
Other people came in to try to grab those feet.
He got up. He's okay. That's Ed Lavandera. And Ed's a big guy, and he can take care of himself, as he said right there. Howard Kurtz now, Fox News media analyst, host of Media Buzz on Sundays. And Howie, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
In a general sense, how do you think and view the media covering this story so far?
I thought the coverage was good last night, and you know, for all of the disdain heaped on the media, this is a reminder of the important, vital work that journalists do when they're on the front lines and in urban riot zones, no other way to describe this, at great personal risk, because they're caught between the police and the protesters in a racially charged, tense situation. They get pushed around, as we saw with Ed Lavandera. They get abuse hurled at them, as our own Steve Harrigan did, because sometimes the journalists are seen as kind of a symbol of the white establishment. There was one local photographer who was the crowd attempted to push him into a fire, and so we've seen this in Baltimore and Ferguson and now in Charlotte. This is important, vital, but sometimes dangerous work.
Yeah, I want to share something with you from a TV station out of Charlotte too. They claim that this image here is evidence of a reporter being thrown into a fire. There was an attempt to put this photographer in a fire. It's hard for me to tell on screen there. But when you have cameras, when you have live reporters, it affects the way the story plays out, right?
Absolutely, and this is a dilemma I think we've never quite figured out how to resolve, which is, of course, cameras should be there to record what's going on the streets. It's an important news story in an important major American city in response to a disputed police killing. But at the same time, I can't help but conclude that when lots and lots of cameras show up, they act as a magnet for thugs and troublemakers and looters. You know, some of these people aren't just peaceful protesters, as we have seen in Charlotte last night and in other cities. And when we cover it wall to wall, I'm not saying it's not a vitally important story, but it might be, you know, a couple hundred people, and we might magnify the importance of the story because it just goes national when cable goes to saturation.
Do you find reporters judging the story already? This early on, that can be a dangerous thing. Do you have evidence of that or not?
I think there's more restraint this time because of what happened in Ferguson, because too many people in our profession rushed to judgment with the hands up, don't shoot narrative involving Michael Brown, which turned out to be false. Now, unlike in Tulsa, where you clearly had a black man who was not armed and who was shot and killed by a police officer, although we don't have all the facts there either, you have two very different accounts here of what happened to Keith Scott and whether or not he did have a gun, as the police say, or did not, as some eyewitnesses say. And so I think sometimes there's a natural tendency by too many in the profession to say, well, this is another example of cops out of control, and others say, well, this is, you know, these people often have criminal records, and to try to put the fault on them. We don't know the full story here, and I did see more restraint, at least in the initial coverage, than we've seen in some of these other cases. I think that's a good thing, because can look very different even from a piece of video when more evidence comes in.
We're all hoping for the best tonight. Howard, thank you.
Absolutely.
Howard Kurtz from Washington, D.C. Thank you, Howard.